On this podcast, we explore the many dimensions of spirituality and how they intersect with everyday life. Join us as we dive deep into conversations about how people are serving humanity, embodying spiritual wisdom, and creating positive change in the world. From ancient traditions to modern practices, the Spirituality Now podcast is your space to discover, learn, and be inspired. So welcome everyone again. I am so excited as I share with you to have this incredible friend, first of all. I'm going to say teacher of mine too, because one of the things I didn't share when introducing you to Miss Linda Heller was that once upon a time, and that's how we're going to start the podcast, I was invited to see a concert of Joan Baez. Is that how you pronounce it, Joan Baez?
Joan Baez, yeah.
Joan Baez. All right, with our beloved friend Serena Sutherland, another great teacher, who was the guide or the sensory integration mentor, a practitioner that helped my son that was diagnosed with autism. And one of her best friends is Linda Heller. And I remember going to the concert, they picked me up, Serena was driving, and this lovely lady here, Linda Heller, was in the passenger seat. And I remember hearing, like me, I was like 30-something years old, 32, 31, maybe 33 years old, in the backseat of the car. And Linda they start sharing things about their lives. I'm just listening, paying attention. And she says, I remember the day that I drove my car, her pickup truck or something like that, up the hill. And then I went down to the car and I went down of the car. I looked at the horizon or something similar to that. And she said, and that's the day that I chose to change my life. Those words were so strong for me. That's when I really became cognizant and aware that, well, yes, I had a mentor at that time called Brian Tracy who always told me, you can change your mind. And then when she said, you can change your life, I decided to change my life. I was like, oh, I'm making changes. It was like without saying anything, it gave me a spiritual permission to move on, to move forward, to go through challenges that were going to come, to have faith that we will overcome it. And that and I always remind Linda that day, when she said that, it changed my life. It was one of the greatest pieces of teaching that I received. So welcome, my friend. We've been for so long, like, come to the podcast. But then I took a hiatus, a little pause, but now you're back. Welcome.
Yes. Thanks. I'm excited to be here and excited to celebrate all the years of friendship and mentorship and teaching and studying and growing.
You are such a body of wisdom, Linda, literally. You have lived through the practices that you share with others. You not only practice or know them, you have lived through them. And for me to start this conversation with you is like, where do you start with someone so rich in experiences, that has trained so adamantly in her spiritual practice and her mindset too, and that leads with such components in her life and helps others too. But I want to start with mindfulness, since you are really one of those people that have embodied the art of mindfulness, and you have a book of that. So why don't we start there? I know that people start the podcast like, tell me about your childhood and all of that, but I know you and I have gone through there a lot.
Too many times.
So many times. But I think it will be a nice shift for a podcast to start with the end in mind, like in leadership they say, which is mindfulness. So share with us a little bit about your book of mindfulness. What is mindfulness for you, and how did that book came forth? And tell the people about your book.
Okay. The book is called Invitation to Mindfulness. And it grew out of an assignment of a class that I signed up to do with Ivonne and another teacher. And the class was called Voices of Power. And we all had different assignments in the class, and mine was targeted to an area of my life that was not developed, which was social media. So my assignment in the class was for 50 consecutive days, I was to put a post on Facebook. And so when I started, I knew nothing about Facebook and I knew nothing about how to create a post. So first I started with copying a quote that I liked. Then that didn't seem fulfilling. So then I added backgrounds. I learned how to make backgrounds for the slides. Then after I'd done about 15 of them or 20, that wasn't enough anymore. And so I decided to relate the quote to a life experience. So I would put up a quote and then I would write something in my life that embodied that quote and how I would apply that to my own life experience. So the 50 days turned into like 130 days. I just kept making these posts every Monday. And so several years go by, I've got all these posts, and I thought, I'd like to put them all together in one place as a book. And I took a coaching class from you, and you called 888, and you facilitated me in the organization of how to put the book together. So I went through Facebook and I pulled all the posts, and then I selected posts and you helped me organize them, and I put them together in a book. And the book is really a set of stories. And the stories are the invitation that to take wisdom and look at it through your own life experience. And how can you apply it so that it isn't just a nice sounding quote like, God is everywhere, or there's beauty everywhere. But how does that translate? What does that look like living day to day? Where does it show up? What does it look like? What did it teach you? And so the book is a series of the quotes from Mindful Mondays, and added to the quote is my life experience about how in my life I experienced the truth of that quote. So for me, and the book also contains activities, should you choose to do them, that integrate the book with the sacred principles from transcendental rebirthing and conscious connected breathing and the power of personal language, which for me were the three pillars, if you would, of my own growth and progress of experiencing mindfulness as a living thing, not a theoretical, intellectual, philosophical idea, but as a way of reflecting upon life experience, and so that it becomes the reflection on the experience becomes its own teaching moment.
Wow. Wow, Linda, it's I know that some of you that listen to the podcast on Spotify will probably feel it through hearing, but if you watched on YouTube, I closed my eyes because there was a transmission, meditative transmission, and I was just putting it together that it was breath, language, and principles. See, breath, your triad of self-realization, your triad of self-revelation, of personal growth that brought you
Yes.
into writing these books, helping people be more of who you truly are on this earth. And I love that you said this is not spoken, this is living mindfulness, not only like an idea, not only talking it outside. And I remember the teaching of transcendental rebirthing, the principle of like, you have to be descriptive, describe, describe, describe. And it's like,
Oh,
remember the exercise. It,
paint me a picture. Show me the picture.
Tell me the picture, which is one of the most challenging things to do for any human being, to be descriptive instead of exclamative, okay? And I said to them, when you are sharing the principles, you gotta live them. And when you help people, you gotta really help them. Not just say that you're helping them, not just expect the accolades or like the pat on the back. Many people do that, the diplomas and everything to be rewarded by who gives you the diploma instead of yourself that went through the process, right? And so in transcendental rebirthing, which is a methodology of helping people, it's like a combination of family constellations, rebirthing techniques, and futuring and somatic experiences to integrate the shadow work integration. It's a body of work that puts everything together, and its skeleton, its foundation, just for people to know a little bit about rebirthing. The skeleton is sacred principles, which are really
Yes.
principles of living. Those principles of living of transcendental rebirthing were founded, discovered, created, and designed and assigned to transcendental rebirthing because those principles, I personally observed them in the womb. There were principles that when the body of the baby, when you are being formed in the womb of creation, which in this case, to be practical, is the womb of your mother, these principles apply. And so one of these principles, where, you have to embody it because when you were in the womb, you cannot be like the heart over there, the lungs over there, the legs over there. It's like an embodied experience. Don't start me with embodiment because it's such a such a spiritual terminology that people are just throwing without really understanding what embodiment means. That includes pain, includes it all. But one of the exercises that we did as transcendental rebirthing trainers, practitioners, students, and intelligent space readers, that's how we call each other, is that I ask you, an audience, you can do this. If you would be an art dealer and you are in Europe and I'm in Mexico, or you are in China and I'm in the other side of the world, right? And you are calling me because I'm a collector of the pieces that you have. Let's say Picasso. That's the word we usually use, right? And Linda, is my client. And I'm going to call Linda. I'm in China, let's say, and Linda is in California. And hey, Linda, do you have time? I have a piece for Picasso. I have one very special Picasso. Now, Linda is a connoisseur. She knows all the Picassos. She really enjoys all the decades of Picasso. And she asked me, describe me the picture. And there's no FaceTime, no Zoom available that day. I only have the phone. So I got to describe to her and say, you should have seen us all like, oh, the picture is beautiful. Well, I have many beautiful pictures. Why would it be different? And the picture is $1,000,000. So if you were going to sell a picture of $1,000,000, how would you describe it? So this is from the era of Picasso where he was terribly in depression. He had left his partner at that moment. He was in the surrealist time where he was painting cubes and triangles, the Cubism era, where his psyche was really challenged. The colors are reds and blues, and there's a cube on the left. There is quite a splash of blues in the center. The measurements are, I don't know, 8 by 8, 20 by 20. You have to be so descriptive. The signature is on the right side of the corner. You can see it. It looks like he signed it very strong because you can see how his energy was like. I have a feeling that he was determined to do something in his life, or he was going through something because of the way the signature is imprinted. See, she would tell me, okay, send me the picture. Probably, I'm imagining that I sold, but that's what we're saying. So when you are saying is living mindfulness, it reminds me of that. You described it in such a way that we get to live it, perceive it, believe it, speak of it, become it, and share it as that. So thank you for that, Linda. So coming back to the principle, so you and I met. Let's go back to the Joan Baez concert. You went, you hung along with me, and this is not about me, okay? I want to hear about you. And you shared the story of the day that changed your life. Please walk the audience through that, because I believe everybody, I invite you to imagine yourself. I want to invite you to the backseat of the car where I was with Linda and Serena. Remember, I'm in the back. It's a white little car of Serena. Was it white?
Yes.
Okay, see, I remember. Serena's on the left. One day, just imagine a friend, and Linda Keller is on the front. Okay, sit in the back. There's space for one more. Come in the back seat with me, and let's enjoy. So, tell us that story.
So to this day, I can still see that experience. Serena and her sister had arranged to go on a 2-week jungle river rafting trip in the Yucatan. So I drove them to the airport in Los Angeles. And I got them on the plane and I said goodbye and all that kind of thing. And I'm leaving the airport. And I had this incredible sense of, what are you doing? Your friends have created this wonderful adventure for themselves. They're going off, they're going to have this dream adventure. And what are you doing? You're doing the same thing you've done every other day. You've chosen what is because it's comfortable and it's safe. And I was sitting at the signal and I looked up in the sky and there was this cloud that looked like the helmet of Athena. And I thought to myself, you can have adventures too. You can change your life. What do you want to do with your life? And I realized what I wanted to do was teach again, as I had when I was much younger. So at that signal, I made the choice. I was going to go home. I was going to enroll in school. I was going to go back. I was going to spend the years that it took to earn the credentials and the blah blahs. And I was going to do what I knew I loved to do instead of do what others expected me to do what was comfortable to do. And I really, when I sat there and I looked at that cloud and I thought of my friends and I thought of the life I was living, and I thought, I'm going to change my life. So I did. And for me, I think everyone has a different path to change. And so for some people, it truly is the mentor, who teaches them a new thing, or a book they read, or a person they meet. And for me, it is as if the biggest changes in my life are always a surprise. It wasn't what I was looking for. I wasn't sitting around thinking about, I want to change my life. It just came to me, sitting at a signal, looking at a cloud, thinking of my friends and realizing I don't want to do it this way. I want to change it. I want to do it another way. And the most extraordinary experiences of my life have always been because I said yes.
Mm.
And I think of the ones that I was witness to and I experienced through you. And for example, reading Chick's book changed my life. And Deciding to go to a conscious breathwork class with Dan changed my life. But I didn't have in my mind some grand plan. I think sometimes it's important to give yourself the grace and the freedom to simply make choices, to try new things, to explore something new, because you never know what's behind the door. You never know how that experience is going to translate within you into new understanding. And so, although I suppose one would say, an acquirer of information, I love information. And I am notorious for loving information. And yet, the most transformative life experiences for me have always been an experience, not information. It's the experience, the felt experience, that changes my life.
Wow. Linda, this is already so packed of wisdom, and I hope everybody is really, this is perhaps also because of the state I feel I'm in, since I share with you a little bit of the quantum leaps and timeline shifts I've been going through. But when you share this, I recognize that. I recognize that you've been leaping and timeline shifting with the power of the key of yes. And just for framework for everybody listening, when Linda refers that there's a book that changed her life called Personal Power Language, I agree. I will add on myself to that statement. It changed our lives. Actually, it's a book that when we do the trainings of transcendental rebirthing, every practitioner we recommend it. Well, I used to like, you must, right? Now it's like
yes.
a recommendation.
It was a you must.
I was very in my military soul time era. I do confess, everybody, that Ivonne, I love you, but she had a great discipline. Anyways, so we read this book. It's called Personal Talks. What is it called? Talk Sense to Yourself by Chick Morman. Linda's going to get it if you see it in YouTube. And Chick Morman is, there it is. This book really, for me, I changed my life through it. Chick Morman would like me to say that. But it really changed my life because that book is so well written by Chick Morman that explains exactly not only how you have personal power, but also the power of choice. And I know there's thousands of books that speak of choice and mentors and teachers and spiritual gurus, but the way Chick Morman uses language, it's so targeted in a way that, and he embodies, just like Linda Heller says, living mindfulness, Chick Morman is living personal power. I got to invite him to the podcast. I cannot believe I haven't had my mentor here. Let's see. But in that book, the awareness of you are responsible for your creation really is described so detailed that it's a life-changing moment, that book. So I agree with you. And then for framework, Linda says that also because there are the three things, the trinity that has forged her into this embodied, mindful, spiritual, just human being, adventurer soul that she is. Remember, is principles, which is the sacred principles of transcendental rebirthing, is breathwork with the classes and teachings of Dan Brule, and language, personal power language, with the teachings of Chick Morman. So these three tools she uses for her already body of wisdom, okay? And she mentions also the breath, just for framework. And I have interviewed the teacher that she's mentioning. His name is Dan Brule. When the podcast used to be called Sovereign Futures, he came in. It was bilingual. So you can find him there. I don't know. I think we interview him again, but if not, I will bring him back. I think it'll be super fun to have him back now that I'm back from these timeline shifting quantum travels, and I have another perspective, a much broader, wider perspective of this incredible adventure. And I'm going to go to that. So, Linda, I made so many notes. I mean, I'm so grateful that you are here because, I always, you know how I love you. And you know how you and I have this green light of we can call each other at 12 a.m. You
Yeah.
and you know how I got a new phone, but your phone number is directed to my new phone. You are the only one. You and my kids and Alex and Rebe and people close to my team, and how we can talk and just hang out, talk about politics, about food, about what's going on, and all of that. But I appreciate that. But one of the things that I appreciate the most of you that you have emphasized through this sharing is that adventurer self. But for that to really talk about the power of adventure, I haven't met women as powerful as you. She has a drumming circle, everybody, of powerful women. I mean, when I met them, I want to share something with you in the podcast that I never shared with you personally, Linda. I fell in love with what it means to be a woman and growth and wisdom, power as a woman, power when I met you all. When I
Uh,
saw Linda and then Serena, if you would have met her, she's incredible. Maybe one day I'll do a podcast of her because she's an incredible teacher. She even chose her Mahasamadhi, which is the conscious death. She said, I'm going to die on the 31st of October because my favorite date is Halloween and Samhain, and she died there. Then there is Georgina Taylor. Hi, Georgina, if you're hearing this. It's such a powerful presence and so conscious women, and Grace Brand. Oh, love her heart, love her spirit. These women come together and do drumming circles. They are adventurers. I've never met power women like that in my life. They remain till this day. You remain till this day, Georgina, Grace, Serena, as my role models of possibilities of being and becoming. Being and becoming. So I think it's a nice thing, to pay you tribute live that is going to go worldwide in a podcast. This is we have a principle called paying tribute, where tribute is due, and here I am doing it. So share with us a little bit of this, the power. How did you? Because you said that the key to this unplanned, the best times in your life, the best adventures, the best like experiences, learning experiences was when you say yes. So how can you share with the audience here? How can they use the yes as a tool to enter this sacred land of mystery, of initiation, of magical mysticism, of adventure, of just living life fully, and but also how, if you use the yes as a key to open the doors, how do you use your no?
ah, well, one of um, one of the principles in transcendental rebirthing is the honest yes and the honest no. And I remember when you introduced us to that concept, the very first group of us who trained, and I'm going, it's like, no, I don't know that I agree with that. And but I realized that there is a kind of reactive no that everyone says. Anyone can say it. You don't like something, no. The more challenging no, the more honest no is, and you gave us examples. For example, a friend says to you, oh, do you want to do such and such? I'd really love to have you come. It would be so important to me. And you don't want to go. You don't like the activity. You don't feel comfortable. The people aren't the people you want to be with. You don't want to go. But you say yes anyway. That's not an honest yes. You're not saying yes because you want to be there. You're saying yes because you feel the no would hurt your friend's feelings. That's not an honest yes. That's not an affirming yes. That's I don't want to be the bad guy kind of yes.
That's a lie.
Yes, exactly. It is a lie. It's a kind of lie people are used to saying over and over again. And it's the lie that we teach children to say. So when you ask the small child, do you want to go to grandma's? No. Oh, yes, you do. She'll be so disappointed. She's going to feel bad if you don't come. She's going to have a treat for you. She'll be so happy to see you. Won't you want to see grandma be happy? And the parent bullies the child into yes. And the child learns that no, an honest no, is not valued. What's valued is the lie of yes. I grew up that way, and my parents thought of themselves as honest people, but I can remember those events where we try and convince the child. So now, as an adult, your friend wants you to do something, you don't want to do it, but what do? You say yes. And it's not a loving, I want to be with you, yes. So at that moment, I feel that there is a wonderful opportunity present. And the opportunity is you can hold on inside to the grudging yes. I'm going to go, but I don't really want to be there. But Sally will be so disappointed if I don't come. Or you can say to yourself, this isn't the first choice I would have made. However, it feels good to me to help support Sally. And you find the gratitude in the choice. You find that golden nugget that you can say yes to, where the yes then becomes authentic. And I suppose I would add to the 3 pillars that were transformative a 4th one, which is gratitude. So I had never spent much time considering gratitude, as a concept. But I watched by accident. I discovered Brother David Stendal-Ross on TED Talks giving a talk on the difference between gratitude and happiness. And it was another one of those 10 minutes that changed my life kind of thing, like reading Chick's book or saying yes to TR training or saying yes to conscious breath work. And what he said was happiness is external. It's dependent on something outside of yourself. You have a boyfriend, you get a new car, you get a raise, you go buy some new clothes, you feel happy. You get a present, you feel happy. But pretty soon, the present's old, the manicure fades, and it's like, well, now what? So now we need another external event to get happy. Gratitude is different because every single moment there's an opportunity for gratitude. Every single moment. No matter how adverse the experience is. You're driving your car, you're in a wreck, your car's totaled, you're sitting on the side of the road. You can either focus on my car's totaled, yuck, or you can say, I am so grateful that no one got hurt. You can choose how you tell the story to yourself of the experience. And when I thought about that and reflected on it, what it allowed me to do is as experiences flow into my daily life, and I experience a sense of irritation, I have a thought that's not my best version of myself, I will actually consciously make a choice to find something to be grateful for. Sometimes that's challenging, but I find that it allows me to release the attachment to the negative stories, the dramatic stories, the what didn't happen, what the person didn't do, what I didn't achieve, and instead focus on something I did achieve, something that did happen, something that is positive. So I have spent the last, let's see, when did we start doing TR? 2007, 2008.
2008, August 8, 2008.
I know. So that was when the training started.
The training
So,
before 2006.
yeah. So, in all those years, with all those experiences, and Chick's book was the first year. So, from 2008 on, every year we had a training. I read that book. And so, what I've discovered is that the stories that I tell myself that are in the book, Invitation to Mindfulness, that the power is not the experience itself. The power is in the language I use to tell the story. So, and you are the one who helped me see that with the stories about my mother.
And we want to go there.
Yes. How many times?
We're going to go there in a moment.
Okay, great. So, what I learned from Chick's book and what I learned from Brother Stendelross, and what I learned from the honest yes and no is that we have within ourselves the power to literally change our experience of our life. You can't make the experience go away. If you had an abusive partner, no magical thinking is going to make the partner not abusive.
Correct.
However, you can change the language you use to describe that experience to yourself and to others. You can change, instead of focusing on the trauma of the experience, you can find something to be grateful for in the experience. What you learned, what you were able to step away from, and then when you do that, at least for myself, I'll speak for myself, I statements. When I began to change the language I use to describe my life experiences to myself, my relationship to my life experiences changed. And it's been a powerful kind of freedom and grace that it is possible to achieve, not by pursuing grace or by pursuing forgiveness, but simply by changing the language that I think about my life with, the language I think about the people that are in my life with, the finding something to be grateful for every day, even with the aches and the pains and the whatever the physical challenges are. What can you be grateful for? And I cannot, I'll reframe that. I can think of no greater gift that one could give oneself than to dedicate oneself to changing their personal language, to embracing gratitude as a daily practice, and to finding a set of core principles, such as the sacred principles of TR, upon which to rebuild the house that your life is. And it isn't something I ever sought to do. It wasn't like it was some kind of a goal. I literally feel as if it was saying yes, back to the original question of the yes and the no. That when you say yes to experiences, you don't always know where they're going to take you. When I said yes to doing TR, Serena had asked me, don't you want to come do this? Oh, I think you'd really, no, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to do it. And then finally it was like, okay, I'll do it. And so it was in a way a yes that was created by the erosion of my willpower by my friend. She finally I thought, okay, I'll do it. And it was a yes that changed my life. And so I think you don't always know. When you say yes to something and you step into it and you fully embrace it, you don't know where the yes is going to take you. I had no idea when I said yes. None at all.
None of us did. That this is so powerful that I think we're going to leave it here. I'm going to invite you back to the podcast because this is such a powerful rounded. This is how I would like to complete this transmission for people. What Linda is sharing, I just want to emphasize that she added a fourth pillar. However, when she speaks about her fourth pillar, language, breath, the sacred principles, and she put gratitude. For me, gratitude is the ground where the pillars are there. And I keep singing like that. And when she's sharing about gratitude, I have now that experience of being so grateful that it transcends the limitations. That if you have white hair, if you have health issues, if you have money situations, relationship opportunities, pains and aches, as Linda said, it doesn't matter. I mean, of course, you're going to do the work for hopefully, make sure that you are not in pain, to go to the doctor, but those things don't determine who you are.
Yes.
And this impacts me so much because people think that, oh, you should be like when I broke my leg and ankle. Oh, I wish you should be walking. I'm like, I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm gratitude for that. I wish, Ivonne, why, if you are faith in action, this I get it a lot. Why I had a car accident, for people that haven't heard my podcast or the story of one of the stories that I had is that I lost an arm, they put it back, but the movement is not there. The nerves were damaged and so, but I have the arm, right? I'm so grateful for the arm. It's like kind of like a little notch of like, people have moles, their personal signature. I have an arm hanging out here, and so I'm like, people are some of the people, not all of the people, some of us, not all of us, so obsessed in the external. You should be doing this or that, having this or that in order to be grateful. No, as what you just shared, the happiness external, gratitude internal. So when you find that gratitude that Linda speaks, that is like, it's not going to leave you. It's going to be there. And when the challenges come that you are tempted to go to past behavioral patterns, past behavioral beliefs of that cluster, when you are invaded by all thoughts that tells you this is the enemy, this is the friend that didn't call me, when you are tempted to project into something external why your life sucks, with gratitude is included, suddenly you begin to bloom. That's where the lotus blooms
Yes.
out of the mud. And just to end this, Linda, because you really, this was a masterclass of yes or no. We really went into the principle of transcendental rebirthing of the yes and no here, and
Yes.
living mindfulness. So this brought me an idea to bring you back to the podcast. I'll call you after this to do a couple of series of podcasts of the principles of transcendental rebirthing. Everyone, those have the ability to really transform you from within. When you apply them, it's incredible. So we'll just go through them because it changed both of our lives, and we'll just go through them. I'll do a little series of podcasts with the sacred principles with Linda. I'm inviting you live. You have the option, well, the choice of honest yes.
It's an honest yes.
Okay, thank you. I was like putting myself in the spot. But Eckhart Tolle, to complete this podcast with the beautiful transmission of Linda, I'm going to quote Eckhart Tolle. One big yes to life is the end of all little no's. So, everybody, thank you. Linda, thank you for bringing your wisdom. Tell everybody where can they find you, where can they find your books, what's up with you, etc.
Okay, so my book is on Amazon, and you can get it Kindle or you can get it hard copy. I also co-authored another book with a friend, also as a result of some experiences with Ivonne, called The Great Mother Speaks, and that's also on Amazon. And you can find me on YouTube. I think it's in the bio. I took most of my Facebook posts and I put them on YouTube, so you can see them. I'm talking and I'm telling a story. So other than that, I have no social media presence. I am not on Instagram. I am not on TikTok.
You can find her. You can find her on YouTube.
Yeah, but you can find me on YouTube. And you can find, and I'm on Facebook. Not as much as I used to be, but I still am.
Yeah, but they can find your books on Amazon. We'll make sure to put the titles of the books here. We'll make sure to put her YouTube channel on the copy of the podcast. And I mean, it's such a joy to meet someone that is walking, living wisdom. And it's a sacred ceremony by herself. And also, she's so fun, everybody. Please have some fun. Well, we always look forward to meet each other because we truly have fun, even when it's been very deep trainings and very like...
Yes.
But we always find a place to let the stories of whatever are not taking us into brilliancy anymore go and have some fun. And we are so grateful. We're so grateful for you, Linda. Thank you so much.
And I for you. Thank you very much for this opportunity to join you.
Thank you, everyone, and go practice. Go practice.
Go practice the honest yes and no.
Honest yes, honest no. Mindfulness, living mindfulness. Read the book and practice
gratitude.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. See you next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into the Spirituality Now podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired and empowered you on your spiritual journey. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others who may benefit from it. Remember, spirituality is not just something we practice. It is how we live, how we serve, and how we connect. Stay grounded, stay inspired, and keep evolving. Please join us next time for more enlightening discussions. And until then, take care and be well.